So welcome to today's Econelastic video. In this one, we're going to be covering the production possibility curve, which is also known as the Ppc curve. This shows all the possible combinations of two goods that can be produced by a country or a firm within a specified period of time, with all its resources fully and efficiently employed. So in this video, we're going to use a graph to explain this theory further. And just as a side note, like all graphs in economics, it's a simplified version of reality, but it allows us to show the theory, how it works, and we'll sort of explain some of the limitations of that later in the video. So in our example, we're going to be using a country. We've used Colombia. And we imagine that they devote all of their resources, these being labour, land and capital, to producing just two goods. Those two goods in our example being coffee and bananas, which isn't far off what they do anyway. That's two main exports of theirs.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got a table on the screen for you now. So this shows the combination of goods they can produce with these two goods. So at either end of the extreme, if Colombia devotes all of their resources to coffee, then it can produce no units of bananas, and vice versa. And then it shows all the combinations of the units of each good in between that, if all the resources are fully utilised and efficiently used as well.
So we've now taken that data from the table and plotted it onto a graph, which you should be able to see on the screen, where the units of coffee are measured on the y-axis and the units of bananas measured on the horizontal x-axis. So again, the curve shows all the combinations of coffee and bananas that can be produced with all of Colombia's resources fully and efficiently employed. So
point A on the graph, it represents 4 units of coffee and 9 units of bananas. So this is a point where these two combination of goods can be produced, efficiently on that curve. And if we then looked at point B on the graph now, this shows you a point outside of the production possibility curve.
That can't currently be achieved, can it, by their resources?
Exactly.
Even when they're fully and efficiently employed.
Exactly. So what we're saying here is that all the land that can be taken at the moment by bananas is, and for coffee the same for labour and technology and capital. So right now it's just not possible to produce B
at point B.
At point B.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Coming back to those simplifications that I mentioned earlier, we know that countries don't actually only produce two goods. And we also assume in this example that there's only one type of coffee or one type of banana. There's obviously different types of each that could be produced in combination. So despite these simplifications, however, there are some important principles that are illustrated. So from a micro perspective, the production possibility curve highlights the issues of choice and opportunity cost that Joe is going to refer to now from the table that we looked at earlier.
Yeah, so the table should be back on your screens now. So we can have a look at the numbers. So if we take units of coffee, let's say we produce in 5 million units of coffee. Now we can produce 5 million units of bananas. Now, if we wanted to produce 6 million units of coffee.
So one more unit or one more million units of coffee.
We'd actually have to sacrifice opportunity cost 5 million units of bananas. So you can see the huge difference. Now, if you want to take it in reverse, we look at 5 million units of coffee. Now, if we decrease the units of coffee by 1 to 4 million units of coffee, we can actually get 4 more million units of bananas. So it goes from 5 to 9.
So in our example, this means that coffee is more production intensive or resource intensive compared to the production of
and we've based that on no facts whatsoever.
No, not at all, but it works for it as an example.
Exactly. And it's because of the opportunity cost increases, the Ppc curve is bowed outwards rather than being a straight line.
So now we'll look at it from a macroeconomics perspective. There's no guarantee that if resources will be fully employed or that they'll be used in the most efficient way possible. Nations, therefore, will be likely producing within the PPC curve. So just like we mentioned before, Joe mentioned that you can't produce beyond the PPC curve. However, it is possible to produce within the PPC curve. This just means that you're not using your resources fully or efficiently. This can be due to a few factors, one being unemployment. You're not using your labour fully and efficiently, and the others being not using the most efficient production methods or combination of production methods. But obviously, countries strive to get their production at least towards or on the PPC curve.
Yeah, exactly.
So in a macro, from a macro perspective, we're concerned with whether the total amount produced is as much as it can be. Whereas from a micro perspective, we're concerned with the combination of goods produced.
Yeah. And now finally, we can look at a shift in the PPC curve. So over time, production possibilities of nations are likely to increase. So this is because of investment, increase in capital, better technology,
just in the same way that GDP tends to increase steadily over time, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And we can say, they can discover better farming lands in Colombia to grow coffee beans and bananas, education and training. This can be new picking techniques, new equipment to pick coffee and bananas, transportation, increases as well. So that means that the point B on our graph could actually be reached in, say, 5 years' time.
May become attainable, and the line actually travels through point B.
Yeah.
So, like Joe said, 5 years down the line, that's no longer beyond the resources available to Colombia. They can actually reach that point.
Yeah.
Produce point B.
And if they were producing now, in 5 years' time, if they were producing at point A on our graph, that would actually then be inside of the PPC, which means that they're not actually utilizing all their resources efficiently.
So thanks for watching today's video. If you have any questions, of course, leave them in the comments section. Please subscribe, like, and we hope to see you in the next one.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you.